Good morning, guys. I just want to share a quick dream I had last night. If I talk funny, it's because I'm sick, but my voice is starting to wake up this morning, so I think I'll be okay. Anyway, the dream I had was this morning, and I was in the air looking straight down at the Pacific Ocean, and I was looking into the water, and it was shallow. The water was shallow where I was, and I saw submarines slowly moving, and I saw that on these submarines they were carrying tanks and weaponry for battle, like field battle, the ground battle. And I had this knowledge that they were creeping slowly, like undetected, and like it was going to be a sneak attack and it'd take us by surprise. Then I saw military on our physical land, like troops on the ground. So they had reached the west coast. And then I saw a Russian white military man who could not speak English going house to house. My neighbor kind of gave me a heads up. He screamed, like hollered at me and said, "Hey, he's coming," or something like that. And I actually grabbed my dog and I was like praying over my dog, like, "Please, Lord, make her not bark." I was afraid they were going to kill her. And that's when I had woken up at that point. That was the last portion of my dream. But it's like this military man was enforcing martial law, but it wasn't our military, it was a foreign military. It was Russian military enforcing martial law. And then I also had a part of my dream, and I can't remember completely that portion, but it was about water rushing through streets, like a flood of water, and the water was sinister, like there was something evil about it, and I don't know if it was because of a possible like nuclear detonation that caused a tsunami and it flooded the streets, and that's why I had a sinister feeling about this water, like it was there because of something evil that man did. That's kind of the feeling I got. Like it wasn't from like rain from the sky. So, one of my friends had mentioned that I guess there were Russian subs last year, and I remember hearing about it, but like one of the Russian diplomats came out and said that Putin had placed like sleeper cell, or what are they called, some like nuke cells or something, under the water in our oceans, like planting them to detonate them at some point and cause a tsunami. So I don't know what they've done. But my dream was about Russia, and I did see flooding, some sort of flooding in the streets. So, my interpretation could be that, they do something like that, detonate something to cause a tsunami. Also, I wanted to tell you about this guy's dream, and it's stuck with me. He had it like 4 months ago. And he's shut down his channel now because now he's in the military doing training. I think he might be out of training by now. But he said before he went into the military, he had this dream. And he was fighting with the American military in his dream. And so he was trying to get a timeline. He was thinking it might be like July-ish when he'd be out of training that he could go to war. So he was trying to piece it together and think, well, maybe we're going to go to war by July or whatever. But anyway, in his dream, I remember this so clear, and it really does tie to my dream. He saw the Russians. They were fighting the Russians, like battle, like men to men on the west coast, and he saw that Americans, they had only guns and grenades. They didn't have tanks. And the Russians had tanks. And I saw the tanks on these subs. And I'm thinking, well, that's weird. He wasn't told anything about an EMP attack. Neither was I. But what I can piece together is, why were they creeping up in subs onto our soil, if we have radar detections and detectors, we'd be able to know they were coming. So there has to be some way that they're going to knock down our radars, and we're not even going to see them coming, because they were creeping. Like, we would have blown them out of the water. Why were they creeping? It's like we had no idea they were coming. And the only way for us to have no idea that they're coming is to knock our power grid out. So that's the feeling I got, was we have had no trace of them coming. It was like a sneak attack. It's like they might throw this EMP, knock out our power grid, we won't see them coming, they'll show up, and like this guy's dream, we didn't have any tanks because they operate off of battery power. We need power. It killed them. We couldn't use them, but they had them. Their equipment wasn't affected. And anyway, so the Russians kept, I'm just wondering if that has to do with it, why I felt like they were creeping on our soil. But the Russians were pushing the Americans back, and about that time he saw like civilians screaming and running and freaking out, and then about that time he was like, so he was in space looking down and saw Kim Jong-un throw a nuclear bomb. So it's like the Russians invaded first, and then Kim Jong-un threw a nuke, and it hit. He said he was like transported back to the battlefield, and he saw, everybody looked up and saw the nuke coming down, and that was the end of his dream. So it's like Russians invade first, they throw an EMP. This is just my interpretation, guys. They'll throw an EMP, invade. North Korea will get involved after that point. The only thing is, I don't know what's going to happen to turn Russia and America to get them to this point. Is it something in Syria? I mean, what turns Putin against us so much that they invade like this? I don't know. Something's going to happen though. Anyway, I just wanted to share this with you guys. And if you guys have any other similar dreams about Russia or North Korea, I've also seen Germany invade our soil. I think that's going to be closer to September 23rd because I was pregnant in the dream. Anyway, if you guys have any other dreams, let me know. God bless, guys.